Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys, it's Ariel, and today we are going to be going through every single book I read in 2022. Okay, so in total, I read about 63 books. This was a really good reading year for me, to say the least, because the past years I haven't been reading anything, basically. Like 2 or 3 books maybe. So it's insane that I've read this many books. It's actually mind-blowing, especially seeing it like right in front of you. So I'm gonna go through some of my stats from Goodreads. So I read 63 books this year, and I read around 22,106 pages, which is crazy. The shortest book I read was Finding Perfects by Colleen Hoover, and it was 128 pages. And the longest book I read was The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, and it was 487 pages. And the average book length of 2022 was 350 pages. And the most shelved books was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I'm really not surprised by. And then the least shelved books, the least shelved book was Our Way Back to Always by Nina Marino, which I understand because I've never heard of it before. I found it, I want to say it was a half price bookstore shopping thing that was happening. It was like a sale. I think that's where I got it. And my average rating for 2022 was 4 stars, which again is a surprise. I rate things very highly, which I need to start being a little bit more critical. And the highest rated book that I read on Goodreads was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, and it says, I read 63 books out of my 30 book reading goal. As I said, I haven't been reading much before this year, so 30 books is very appropriate for me, so I'm really happy I succeeded with that. So that is all of my stats. I don't know if that helped you guys at all, but I don't know why it would, but I thought it was interesting. So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and go through the title, the author, and then the rating, and if I have something to say about it, I'll say it. I'm not going to go through the whole synopsis or nothing, just because that would be an hour-long video. And what is stressing you out that bad that you are huffing and puffing? What stresses you out that bad? I love my dog, don't get me wrong. But he is over here huffing and puffing. I don't know what stresses him out so much. So, the first book I read this year, oh my god, this is so crazy that 2022 is already over. It's insane to me. Sorry if I sound stuffy. I've been sick for like a month now. So, and it still has not gone away. So the first book I read was, drumroll, Freshman by Tom Ellen and Lucy Ivison. So I want to say I was in Barnes & Noble, and I picked this up just because of the cover. But I rated this 3 stars. It was okay. The only thing I remember about this book really is that they were in college. Next book I read was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I gave this book a 4 stars. The more I think about it, I would probably give this a 5 stars if I reread it. But I am in love with this book. Everybody's in love with this book. Just the detail of them falling in love. I need to reread this because I don't remember a lot of detail about this. But I do remember like the process, and I really recommend it because it's a really good book. These next like Love and Other Words, Archer's Voice, and the next 2 books, I think those are the reasons that I really got back into reading, because it was just like a good book after good book after good book after good book. It was so good. So next is Archer's Voice. I gave this a 5 star. Oh my god, this book is my pride and joy. I love it so much. I need to reread it because I literally think about it all the time. It's like soft boy. Well, she's not really like a headstrong girl, but like he's such a soft boy, and like he doesn't speak. Everybody thinks he's weird because he doesn't speak. But I don't know, they helped each other out. Next is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. A lot of people don't like this book, but I absolutely love this book. Colleen Hoover definitely knows how to keep you hooked the whole time, because I was in this book like I could not put it down, but I ended up giving this 5 stars. This is about a couple and they like, or they're not a couple, but they're like friends and they meet up every November 9th. Again, I don't remember a lot of these books just because my memory is very bad, but I remember the plot twist in this and oh my gosh, I remember that plot twist to say the least. Just go read it. Next book I read was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, and this book gets the prettiest cover award. When I got this in the mail, I just can't stop looking at it. Every time I see it, I just get mesmerized, but I ended up giving this a 4 stars. This is about Kenna, I want to believe. Yes, it's about Kenna, and she's trying to get her daughter back. It's a whole thing. I really enjoyed this book. I enjoy all Colleen Hoover books. I don't really understand why she gets hate, but in my opinion, I think she's really good and I read anything she writes. I just got Slammed from her for Christmas, so hopefully I'll get started on that soon. I'm currently reading Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Trying to get back into reading, been in a really big reading slump for a while now. So hopefully I'll get back into it, but that was Reminders of Him. Next book I read was The Problem with Forever, and this is when that incline went down. This was a really, really boring book. Don't remember anything about it, honestly. I don't even know what to say because I just don't remember it. I ended up giving it a 3 stars. Next book I read was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have never read anything like this and I really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I'm sure you've heard about it. It was the #1 like shelved book on Goodreads, so obviously you've heard about it. Really, really, really good story. I loved it. 5 stars. The next book I read was The Silent Patient, and I do not have this book. My mom has it. I gave it to her to borrow like right after I finished this. Your girl just read it. It's been what, like a year? Almost a year since I read that. I gave that book a 5 stars. The plot twist, amazing. The story, amazing. I was hooked. I need to get back into thriller because the way I was hooked to that book is insane. The next book I read was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I did not think I would be into this book as much as I was, honestly. The guy in this book, stop. Like, just the thought of this guy in this book gives me butterflies. Like, it was just getting hot in here, that's all I gotta say. And this was a 5 stars. The next book I read was In 5 Years by Rebecca Surley. The synopsis of this book was something completely different than what it actually was. 2 stars. And then I started the off-campus series, The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Favorite book of the series, obviously. I haven't finished the series yet, but I was hooked with this couple. I love this couple so much. I could read about them a million times over. I gave this 5 stars. And then I carried on into The Mistake. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. If I read it again, I would probably give it a 3 or 4 stars, like just thinking back. It wasn't as memorable as the first one, but still pretty good. I think I finished the 3rd book a little further into this year, and I still haven't finished the last 2, so hopefully I will get that done soon. Next is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I gave this a 4 stars. Don't get me wrong, don't hate me for this, but every Emily Henry book I read, I just do not remember. I just don't think they're very memorable. Like, they're fun when you're reading them. I just don't. I definitely prefer Colleen Hoover over Emily Henry. I'm sorry, guys. I can open the package. I'm gonna go ahead and haul this book because I just got in the mail. Oh my god, guys! I got If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I'm starting this as soon as this video is over. Stop. Oh, I'm so excited. Yay! So stay tuned for that. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I read People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Again, not very memorable. I gave this a 3 stars. Just not my favorite. I can't wait to put all these books away. Next is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Gave this book a 5 stars. Don't really remember a lot of it. Love the cover though. Next book I read was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This was one of my favorite books of this year. I will say the ending, sorry, I'm out of breath. I will say the ending plot twist kind of ruined it for me. It was still 5 stars. I was still in love with it, but I definitely think what she ends up doing is not my fave. Next book I read was You've Reached Sam by Dustin Theo. Really like this book. Super sad. That's all I really remember from it, is that it was sad. 3 stars. Next book I read was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. The reason why I read this book is because it's been on my TBR for about 3 years now. So I decided to read it, listen to it while I was at work. Very weird. Not my thing. 2 stars. Next was The Spanish Love Deception by Lana Armas. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. I really liked this book. My only critique is it didn't have to be this long, and you were like, it's about them taking a trip to Spain, and she needed a wedding date, so she asks her coworker. They didn't get to Spain until like 50% through the book, which... Next book I read was Layla by Colleen Hoover. A lot of people didn't like this book. I really liked it. I think it was definitely interesting, to say the least. The plot twist was really good. I just genuinely enjoyed this book. Gave this a 4 stars. Next book I read was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I still have the Target sticker on there. Problem solved. I ended up giving this a 3 stars. I didn't really get the hype. It was a cute story, just wasn't my fave, and I really don't remember a lot of this book. Next book I read was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. Don't know why this isn't talked about more. I think this should be one of her most popular books, honestly. I think it's because the mom and daughter relationship in this I just really related to. My mom's a single mom, so I think that's definitely why. And both of their love stories was just adorable. I absolutely enjoyed it. I can't wait to reread this. I gave this a 5 stars. Next is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Again, I don't get the hype. I gave this a 3 stars. Honestly enjoyed the movie more. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but this would definitely be like a comfort movie for me. I just felt like safe while watching it. I don't know. Next book I read was Pack Up the Moon by Christina. I definitely lied. Kristen Higgins. I gave this book a 5 stars. Super sad. About this man who's reading a bunch of letters that his wife wrote to him before she passed away. Just that synopsis makes you know that this is a very sad book, but I really enjoyed it. Next book I read was Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I ended up giving this book a 3 stars. I don't remember much about it. I know there's a lot of text messages in here, which I just really like text messages and books, so that's about it. That's all I remember. One Mistake by Heidi Perks. I really enjoyed this. It's about this mother who's trying to find her child because her child was kidnapped. A lot of plot twist. Super good story. I gave this 4 stars. I don't know if I said that yet. Next book I read was Speak by Lori Halls Anderson. I read this, I want to say, when I was a freshman. Didn't really remember the story, but I reread it. Super important. I highly suggest everybody read this just because it's very important subject, and I'm happy I read it. I gave it a 4 stars. Next book I read was Our Way Back to Always by Nino Marino. This is the one that not a lot of people have read. I understand because I don't remember any of it. Gave it 3 stars. All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. Absolutely loved this book. I don't understand why people aren't talking about it. Gave it a 5 stars. It's about these 6 people who are invited to this dinner, and there's like a bomb that's about to go off or something. Yeah, and they have to try to find... You have to kill one person out of the 6, and then the bomb will like not go off or something. Very interesting. I literally made like I don't know if you guys can see that, but I made like a graph because there's so many connections of these 6 people, and I highly recommend it. It's so good. Next, I read Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. I give this 2 stars. I read this because my mom got it for me. And I wanted to read it because she got it for me and I thought it was my duty to read it. I don't think Casey West is my age group. Definitely a preteen type book. So I would have liked this in middle school probably. Just not as a 20-year-old reading it. Next, I read When You Were Everything by Ashley Woodfolk. This was 4 stars. This is about a best friend breakup. Really like a book that's talking about that because I've been through so many and I really related to this. I think it's really important. Next book I read was The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. Gave this 5 stars, but I really don't remember a lot about it, honestly. Like anything. I know it's about this guy who makes, I want to say it's a quiz. Yeah, he makes a DNA-based matchmaking company and the main girl is his match or whatever. I gave it 5 stars, so it was obviously good, but I don't remember it. The next book I read was See Me by Nicholas Sparks. I was obviously in a Nicholas Sparks kick because I also read another book by him. I got a lot of these. This was when I went to the half price book outlet sale, so a lot of these books I got from there. This was super boring. I ended up giving it a 3 stars. I don't remember anything about it. It was a super big book and I just think it was too big. Obviously I don't like big books, as you can tell. And I don't remember anything about it. So, and I don't have many tabs in it, so it makes me believe that I didn't like it as much. Usually when I have a lot of tabs, it means like I was obsessed with it. Next book I read was The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. I absolutely love this movie, so I had to read the book. The book was exactly like the movie, so good, 4 stars. And then I finally moved on into the next book of the Off-Campus series. I read The Score. This was Dean's book. I gave this a 4 stars. I really like their dynamic. The jokes they say between each other was really funny. Definitely not my favorite love story out of the series, but it was still good. Next book I read was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Absolutely love this book. As you can see, I would read this book over and over again. It's basically about a girl who's obsessed with romance movies, so it was basically written for me. I'm pretty sure she is me, honestly. Next book I read was Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. I gave this a 4 stars. A lot of text messages in this book, which I love. Don't remember a lot of it, honestly. Next book I read was Confess by Colleen Hoover. I gave this a 3 stars. Definitely not her best. The story was okay. The one thing I remember about this is that he's an artist, or she's an artist, or something like that. My favorite part, honestly, was how they put in the pictures of the art in this book. I thought that was really cool. Next book I read was Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter. I wanted to read all of Lynn Painter's books because one of my favorite authors now. I definitely found her this year and I'm going to be reading everything she writes because it's just so good. I ended up giving this a 5 stars. This is Enemies to Lovers. Really good, really witty. I loved their banter. Next book I read was One Day by David Nichols. Absolutely hated this book. Gave this 2 stars. Super boring. The guy in it was just a douchebag, honestly. And then I watched the movie. I honestly got this book because I wanted to watch the movie because I love Anne Hathaway, and not good. Just not good. Next I read The Lovely Bones. I gave this 3 stars. This is by Alice Sebold. I recommend the movie. The book just gets... Obviously, it's still a good book. It just got so into detail to where I was like sick to my stomach. And the movie doesn't really go into detail that much. And I also feel like the movie just pulls on your heartstrings a little bit more. It was kind of hard to get the concept on a book. Really sad story, but really important story. Next book I read was The Heart Principle by Helen Hoang. I gave this 3 stars. I don't remember anything from this book, honestly. Next book was 17th Summer by Maureen Dally, I want to say, or Dolly. This was 2 stars. Didn't like it at all. I just don't like it. Next book I read was The Wish by Nicholas Sparks. I don't know why more people don't talk about this. 5 stars. This is about This old lady is like telling her employee about her love story. Very Nicholas Sparks. Reminded me a lot of The Notebook, honestly. It was really, really good. And then I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey and Emily Henry, I just don't get the hype about because I gave this book a 3 stars. Nothing special, really. It was a cute story, just didn't pop out at me. I ended up reading the Hopeless series by Colleen Hoover. Super, super sad story, like it's really sad, but very, very good. And then I read Losing Hope, which is Hopeless, the same story, but it's in his perspective, and I really liked. I thought if I read this, it was going to be literally the same story, just in his perspective, but you actually learn a lot more about the story in this book. I ended up giving this a 5 stars also. Then I started the Addicted series, Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I never continued with this series just because like I went into a reading slump. I gave this book a 4 stars. This is about a couple and they both have addictions. The girl's addicted to sex and the guy's addicted to alcohol. I do want to continue with this series at some point, I just don't know when. And then I ended up reading the like spin-off novella of Hopeless. I read Finding Cinderella by Colleen Hoover. This is about the main guy and Hopeless, his best friend's love story. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. It was a cute little read. And then I read You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. 5 stars, absolutely love this. It's about a married couple and they're trying to figure out if they want to get a divorce or not. I love the whole trope of like falling out of love and then re-falling back in love after you've been together for so long, because I just think that's really realistic, and this is a really funny book. Next I read It's All in How You Fall by Sarah Henning. I really like this cover, so I picked it up at Barnes & Noble. I gave this a 3 stars. This is about a guy and he takes this girl through every single sport. I thought that was a really cool idea. Cute read, just not very memorable. And then I read Homebody by Ruby Carr. I love poetry. I'm always going to give poetry 5 stars, honestly. Next book I read was The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I ended up giving this book a 4 stars. I don't remember a lot of this book, honestly. It's kind of a blur, but I am excited to read the second book. And then I finished I want to say it's the Hopeless series by reading Finding Perfect. This book took me so long to read. Like I was reading it for 3 days straight and it's this tiny. I don't know what my problem was, but I just did not want to pick up this book. I ended up giving it a 4 stars. And then I reread It Ends With Us so I could read It Starts With Us. I read It Ends With Us last year. Well, not last year, but the year before. And that's what really got me into reading. And then I read It Starts With Us. This is basically a book all on Atlas and Lily. Absolutely loved it. They're my favorite couple ever in books, so I obviously love this. Gave it 4 stars. Then I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Really liked this book. Gave it 5 stars. I think it was super interesting and I'm so excited to get through the rest of the books. Like I'm genuinely so excited. There's so many books I want to read. It's crazy. The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. The Summer I Turned Pretty, 4 stars. It's Not Summer Without You, 4 stars. We'll Always Have Summer, 5 stars. These books are really cute. I really recommend them. The covers are absolutely stunning, honestly. Like I just want to look at these all day. The TV show, where's season 2 at? Because I'm obsessed. And the very last book I read this year was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. Again, really enjoyed this book. I just love her writing. Definitely ended on a good note. I gave this 4 stars. I really hope I have a good reading year this year. Hopefully I won't get in a slump and I can read even more books. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did. I really, really enjoyed this past year. Again, hopefully I find new authors like Lynn Painter that I really love this year. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and hit the bell to get notified every time I post. Thank you guys for watching. Bye, loves.